biggest stories, and don't miss us on The Herd weekdays at 12 Eastern. Catch it all right here Monday through Friday on FS1.
And I've said this about the NBA. It's never been a parity league. It's been about dynasties and stars. These are the faces of the league in the NBA since I started watching it. Wilt Chamberlain was a Laker. Then Dr. J in the late 70s. Magic and Bird were the faces of the league. Michael Jordan, into Shaq and Kobe, into LeBron. Generally, there's 2 or 3 qualities you have to be the face of the league. First of all, you have to be a remarkable player. You can't even be an A- player. You've got to be a remarkable talent. Number 2, your game has to have some flair. It's got to be fun. Dr. J was fun. And number 3 is, got to win titles. Why Charles Barkley's not up there. Personality, Kareem didn't have any. Why he's not up there. And I'm thinking to myself, who's next? You could say Giannis, but I don't buy it. He's already been there 6 years. They don't talk about him. James Harden. Going to be 30. Ugly game. Not really likable. What about Kevin Durant? Durant, like Jabbar's, got kind of a prickly, odd personality. He's going to be 31 next year. There's never been a sense he carries a team. He couldn't win anything in Oklahoma City, and in Golden State, they won without him. There's a kid named Zion Williamson who could be. He's interesting. He's a phenom on social media. He literally is doubling college basketball ratings in games he plays. His game's got a ton of flair. You start looking around the league. I don't buy Harden. I don't buy Giannis. Zion is very, very interesting. I'm just not sure his game will be dominant enough at a pro level. We keep pushing Brady out, and Tom's still the face of the league at 41. My guess is in 5 years, Lakers going to land a couple of pieces around the king. He'll still be the face of it. By the way, so Doug Gottlieb in 10 minutes, we'll talk about that controversial call in the Duke-UCF game. I said UFC earlier. That's obviously not UCF, Central Florida. And there was a no call on a push. And fans make this mistake a lot, and the media makes this mistake. Sports are not officiated the exact same way late in games. Just like they're not coached the same way. Just like rules change late in games. They did not call a push because refs swallow their whistle in close, big games late, always. Ever noticed in the NFL, on a Hail Mary, they never call pass interference, even though everybody's grabbing and pushing? You ever noticed in soccer, you very rarely, with a minute and a half, 2 minutes left, see a penalty kick? Because refs don't want to call it unless it's egregious. In hockey, you go to overtime. Refs want it fully manned. They don't want to, unless it's egregious. A hockey ref is not going to take a guy off the ice. But calling games should be officiated the same way. Why? They're not played the same early as late. They're not coached the same early as late. There are rules that change. You have a 2-minute warning late, not early. In overtime, college or pro football, the rules all changed. By the way, in the NBA, if you call a timeout late in games, they take the ball and they move it to the other end of the floor. They don't do that in the first quarter, the second quarter, and the third quarter. Why do they do it at the end of a game? To make the game more competitive. You also can't do hack-a-shack in the NBA late in games anymore. There's all sorts of rules in place telling you that games are different late. Football, basketball, baseball, you can't do a challenge in baseball after the 7th inning. You can't do a challenge in football under the 2-minute warning. So the rules change late in games. Officials also officiate differently. They get out of the way. Remember Christmas Day last year, LeBron and Kevin Durant? And LeBron claimed he was fouled twice. When you have LeBron and Kevin Durant, the 2 biggest stars in the NBA, going to the basket late, LeBron claimed he was fouled twice. They swallowed the whistle. By the way, several years ago in the finals, LeBron fouled Kevin Durant going on the baseline. They swallowed their whistle there. Go ask New Orleans Saints fans. Referees will allow aggressive play late. They always have and they always will. They don't want to get in the way of an outcome. But Colin, they should. No, they shouldn't. Rules change late. Overtime rules are not the same as regular rules. NBA, they advance the ball. NFL, you can't challenge. Baseball, you can't challenge. Hockey, they won't call anything in overtime. That's the way it should work in sports. You don't drive to work going the same speed limit. There's the freeway. There's off-roads. There's side roads. There's school zones. This idea, you just officiate, same rules, not the great ones. They get it. Officials do not want to be in the newspaper the following morning having called a foul that wasn't a foul. They're much better off not calling anything, disappearing, and letting them play. Okay, I know it makes you mad. You don't want to hear it. But every time people are furious at officiating, almost always, it's because something that wasn't called, not something that was. And did I think it was a push? A lot of pushing in basketball. But I didn't think they were going to call that. I don't think you decide a game that way. By the way, UCF had a chance for an alley-oop dunk, blew it. Duke came down, hit a shot. It was a 5-point swing. 4 or 5-point swing. That's your game. That's not your game. That missed jam at the other end was the game. Rules change. Coaches coach differently. They substitute differently. You can't hack a shack late. They move the ball in basketball down the floor late. They don't do it early. That's sports. Joy Taylor with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
So the Lakers were officially eliminated from the playoffs this weekend after their loss to the Nets.
Yep.
It's the first time LeBron has missed the playoffs in 14 years. And while LeBron is taking a lot of the blame for the Lakers' woes this year, his physical therapist, who worked with him during his groin injury, is coming to his defense. Dr. Karen Jobert wrote on Instagram, "I want you all to know how bad his injury was and is, the pain he endured. He was on the court in 6 weeks. It should have been 6 months. Unselfishly, he endured pain. He did not want to let the Lakers down, the fans down, but I know what he went through. I learned about determination, the will to win, how to get the job done. He is a force to be reckoned with." It was a picture of her and LeBron in what looks like the physical therapist's office. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Physical training room with the Lakers. She's since deleted this, of course. It's a kind of interesting timing considering that they had just been eliminated from the playoffs. But I also don't know who this helps. I obviously don't think that the Lakers loved having this up because it's not really a good look for them if he should have been out 6 months and he was out there playing in 6 weeks. But it's also not a great look for LeBron either because, of course, you can't just post information about a patient's injury on the internet. So someone had to approve this post, you're assuming. And then also, it's like, if you really had to be out 6 months, what are you doing out there? This is not the point of your career where you need to push through an injury during the middle of a regular season.
It's another moment with LeBron where bad things are happening on the court and he races to Instagram to save his brand or elevate his individual accomplishments. I've felt this year it's been a bad year of kind of marketing and branding for LeBron. Everybody looks at his pizza chain and his TV shows. But like 4 times this year, you and I think we've agreed on these, there's been like us, and he races to Instagram to say, I blocked a shot. And it's like, you know what LeBron should do when the season ends? Like recalibrate. Take a month off, do what you want to do, go see a therapist, kumbaya, a guru. Get back into the team thing. I just feel like this year's been all about LeBron. And I get LA's very much a, celebrity town. But it's almost like Cleveland and Akron kept LeBron in check. Like he felt like he was part of a community and a fabric.
I think that at least in Cleveland, there was the feeling that if he doesn't do it, literally no one will. And it was this idea with the Lakers where he's going to get another star. We just know it. And everything's just going to work out. We just know it. And the basketball gods are just going to give this to us. And it didn't. And it was issue after issue, injury after injury. And this is just another example to me. Like, I don't get this. It doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help LeBron because if you're really that injured, there's no reason you should be out there. If it's a 6-month injury, there's no reason you should be out there in 6 weeks. And it doesn't help the Lakers at all. So it's just one more thing. And it's like, okay, like this year's done. We know there was a lot of issues.
Stay off Instagram.
Let's just all kind of ride off into the sunset of the summer and allow us all to clear the air. So after blowing an 18-point lead in the fourth quarter of Saturday's loss in Charlotte, the Celtics were blown out on their home floor last night against the Spurs. Kyrie was seen sitting away from the team during timeouts and walked to the locker room with 20 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And after the game, Kyrie was asked about his leadership.
Winning's hard. Team environments are hard. Like, it's not as simple as just, listening to everybody else speak about what's